The interesting thing about that is that fucked up photo would be a style in the future.
Yes, right.
You're right. You mean like a photo that is not conventionally good.
Exactly.
Yeah, totally.
Explain that. What do you mean? Like,
it just doesn't. It doesn't matter. Like art is art. Art. It's like art is taste. It's personal taste. Like, and then you collect a group of people who have the same personal taste and willing to spend money on it.
Mm-hmm. And that creates a market and a value for it. And so, like, you're right. Like, you can say, like, oh, I'm going to take this, like, tile and shit on it, and that's art. And then all of a sudden, if you get 5 people to agree with it and 1 person with money to back it, all of a sudden, people be shitting on your floor a lot.
There'll be a lot of poop pics.
Yeah, and I mean, but, you know, it's like, it's true. It's, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and then, so it goes back to, like, authenticity as far as, like, your personal style.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yep.
Because one day your personal style is going to be of value.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what's your personal style?
I'm still trying
The hardest question.
I'm still trying to figure that out.
Okay. All right. What about you, Matt? Because I know I'm very familiar with your work. And you do a lot of black and white, which is so dope. What you do with light and with shadow.
Thanks.
So that's definitely part of that.
You know, I'm one of those people. I think some people believe that personal style or somebody's style is sort of locked in, and like you see a Richard Avedon or you see a Diane Arbus picture, and then that's that style. And to some extent, that may be true for some artists. Like, you know, when you're listening to the Beatles, or I'm sorry, the Beatles are a bad example because they're all over the map. You know, when you're listening to
The Migos. yeah. They have an
Rolling
essence.
Stones, or you know when you're listening to Snoop Dogg, like there is
Swiss
a
Beats.
Swiss Beats.
Right.
You know when you're listening to Swiss
Swiss
Beats.
Beats,
Without a question, it's going to be like this,
Timberland.
and it's going to be a little bit hood and like whatever. Versus somebody like an artist like Wilco or the Beatles. Or Outkast, where they're all over the map. And so I'm a little bit more like that. Like, as I grow, I ask myself, like, what am I about now? Because I'm not the same person I was when I took a lot of pictures of our friends who are still our friends now, but 20 years ago when I was photographing them. You know, I was a different person. I was in a different place in life. I was reflecting that. Because there's that whole view that if you take a photograph, it's really every picture is a self-portrait, in the sense that you are always taking it from your perspective. And even if you're pointing it at somebody else, you are choosing the perspective. So, but I mean, just to not evade the question, what my personal style is.
So what's your personal style right now?
Right now, I think my kind of vision or like goal or positioning is to be a listener and like calm and respond. And so then whatever happens in front of the camera happens, as opposed to like going into it with an idea of something and then finding it, because that's almost like a confirmation bias, right? Like if I go somewhere and I'm like, I've been photographing Yonkers.
I've been with you.
You've been with me, so you understand some of that process. If I go there, Yonkers, where we're going, is really hood. It's a really rough spot, and it's like about a mile from where I grew up, so there's this familiar element for me. And I could easily go there and make it look hood. Like, I could make it look bad because that's a confirmation bias. And what I want to do is show it the way it is. If it's hood, it's hood. If this corner's not, it's not. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If this person doesn't fit in, that's okay because they're still them there. Mm-hmm. So that's my style, and that actually has created commercial problems for me because it's not easy to say Matt does this or Matt does that, which is kind of what you were talking about in the beginning of saying, I want to be a photographer that shoots this, and then you market yourself for that. So I find that to be true.